Hello, how do you do? I'm Hana Q, your local digital artist, and today I am back with another video of drawing your characters in my style. But first, I want to tell you guys about the sponsor of today's video, Skillshare, a supportive online learning community with thousands of online classes and members looking to be inspired on their creative journeys. Skillshare has tons and tons of different topics from illustration, animation, graphic design, writing, music production, photography, and more. They also have creative career-focused classes too, so whether you're looking to up-level in your career or start a new side hustle, they have you covered. I've been very interested in learning more about storytelling because even though I'm more of an artist than a writer, I do a lot of writing in my videos related to the story behind the characters I'm drawing. So that's why I'm very excited about taking Daniel Jose Older's course, Storytelling 101, Character, Conflict, Context, and Craft. The course format is easy to follow and is broken down into simple topics and writing tips with examples from his own bodies of work. I've been learning how to write characters with motivations that make them feel real and likable. If you're interested in learning more in your creative journeys, make sure to click the link in the description below. The first 500 people to click the link can get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Alright, now it's time to take a look at your beautiful OCs. So here we are, just taking a look at all of the OCs you guys have submitted to me. I'm very excited for this. There is a lot of really good stuff in here. So let's just get started. Oh my gosh, I feel like this character would just be so comforting and so warm and so cute. This is really cute. I love how on the different skin tones you can see that there's actually some hearts forming. Oh! Look at these colors. They're so cute. I love her expression too. I love your art style. It really pops at me. This is so gorgeous. The horns are so detailed, so beautiful. I love the way that the shine hits on them. I like this guy. He looks a little mischievous, but sometimes you want a little mischievous, a little bit of a playboy. Oh my goodness. This is cute. What a cute art style and what an adorable outfit that they're wearing. This is so pretty. What an extravagant and detailed outfit. I think one of my favorite parts are her little shoulder pads here. Gives her a little bit like more of a regal look. This is very cute. I love the little duck on their overalls. Ah! Oh my gosh! One of the cutest art styles ever. Love these colors. You guys are so talented. This is so charming to me. I don't know, something about just a simple cute guy and a t-shirt. It wins my heart every time, to be honest. This is so fun. Apparently, they designed this character from this image, which is like so incredible. What a testament to your creativity. I am just entirely enamored with all of your OCs. They are always so fun and creative, and this time I was particularly inspired by your amazing styles and colors. So I themed this episode on unique and vibrant characters. For our very first OC, I chose this character by @_indecisive. Her name is Blushy and is also their Sona. I really enjoy Blushy's vibrant colors and expressions. The art style is so fun and pop-like with the gorgeous brown hair, shades of pink, and blue highlights in her hair. This was particularly inspiring to me, and I felt like I wanted to give my hand at a more pop-like coloring style, using unusual and fun colors for highlights. I also had a plan to somehow incorporate the colors with the next OC, making them almost like matching images. But you'll have to stay tuned until later to see how that turns out. So I sketched my pose out, which is meant to match a little bit with the next character, so she's looking over to the side. Now I'm just focusing on finishing the line art, with a special emphasis on giving her signature flared fluffy hair. Blushy also has bunny ears, and of course I didn't learn at all from my last mistake of drawing bunny ears, in that the ears would be pretty difficult to fit into the canvas because they were so big. But I'm stubborn, so I managed. One thing I noticed is that Blushy has heterochromia, with her left eye being a lighter shade of pink. It's subtle, but I make sure to add it. So I mentioned earlier that I wanted to try coloring a little differently this time. This is all experimental, but I'll explain some of what I did. Just a forewarning, this is not meant to be a tutorial, but more of a sharing of my thoughts and process. Take from it what you will, but just know it is not supposed to be an in-depth tutorial. I will definitely do some in-depth tutorials in the future, but we are getting there one step at a time. Once I did the base colors, I'll use a soft brush to create a gradient shading effect on each base color, focusing on creating form and interest. Afterwards, I'll create a new folder on top on multiply mode and do all of my shading on one layer with this light mauve tone. I focus first on shading the bigger pieces that the lighting will not hit, then I'll add some small detail work after. Then I'll add some pink transitionary colors between the shading and the unshaded portion. Using that same tone, I'll create some depth in the hair. For a final step in this coloring process, I'll also add an additional layer of shading on top of each base color. I just create a new layer on multiply mode with that same light mauve color. The final thing to do is to add the highlights. So I'll merge everything down and use the lasso tool to create sharp shapes and add highlight with a bold pop of color. In this case, I'll use a slightly different shade of blue than Blushy has on her artwork. I'll do some finishing work like adding additional toning on multiply and overlay layers. My goal with this drawing is to have her match with our next OC, so now that I've established the lighting, vibrancy, and color profiles, our cute bunny girl is finished. I think her colors turned out really nice and vibrant. Psst! Enjoying the video? Well, what if I told you you could have your original character drawn in the next video? It's true. All you gotta do is have an Instagram account and a picture of your OC. Then simply upload the picture with the hashtag HanaDrawMyOC6. That's the next hashtag. Feel free to add a name, character description, all the good stuff. Have fun, and I can't wait to see your characters. For our second OC, I am drawing Yudon by @TaffeneQ. Yudon is a boat racer with incredibly gorgeous warm colors and tones. I really love the hair because I felt like it was such a unique shade of orange and blue tones. I start off sketching the character. As I mentioned earlier, I wanted to make it seem like these two characters were from the same world, so I drew Yudon glancing over to the left. I'm getting pretty excited for the matching character image, so just a little more until we can finally see the two of them side by side. I noticed that Yudon has olive-shaped eyebrows, so I added that in. I wasn't sure what the two tails here were, but I found another image of Yudon and saw that they were actually twin tails. I decided to follow this reference and have the hair pieces connected. I couldn't completely make out what their hat was, but since Yudon was a boat racer, I decided to make it a paper boat hat. I thought it made a cute touch. I head straight into doing the line art now. I'm focusing on making the hair fluffy and balancing the cute and cool edge to the character that I felt that they had. I normally only draw bust-ups for this series, but I really like the pants that Yudon has going on here, so I include the top bit of it. Like with our first character, I'm going to create a new folder to do my shading on. I'll use a light mauve color and fill in areas that will be hidden in shadow. Once I have those initial blocks of shadow, I can then focus on adding detail with the shading. I'm really enjoying this shading style because I can focus first on the lighting and details without concerning myself too much with how the colors will look at first. Plus, it's very easy to adjust the colors like this. I used to color primarily in grayscale and gradient maps when I used to do more painty style art, so I'm always happy to use blend modes when I'm coloring. After the shading, I'll return to the base colors to soft brush and gradients to the base colors. Again, we're focusing on depth and form here. I'll add the orange transition color next to the shading and use that same shade to add depth to the hair. Now I'm going to go back and begin shading each base color to add additional details. I'll usually just use another mauve color on multiply mode for this. Let's add some details to the eyes now. I'll just keep continuing this process with the rest of the layers now. Similarly to Blushy, I'll add highlights using the lasso tool. I choose colors that will complement each section of Yudon's multicolored hair. At this point, I'm just enhancing the colors with different layer modes and adjustment layers. After some finishing details, our boat racer is finally complete. I think that they came out very charming, and I'm intrigued to know more about their story. I'm very excited for these characters, and I can't wait to see your reactions to it. And now, it's time for the final reveal of our matching characters. Enjoy! I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of drawing your OCs in my style. It was a fun one. And thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Until next time, I'm wishing you all the best on your journeys of achieving your goals and dreams. Bye!